Hello everybody, we are back here on The Hunter Call the Wild, and with very popular demand we are bringing back some whitetail hunting, but this time we're doing it on the Bloodhound Beta so that you guys will actually get a chance to see what whitetail are going to be like on March 30th when the Bloodhound DLC releases. And from what I've done on the live streams, the whitetail do seem much more tolerable to hunt. They do seem to have some issues with respawn still, but I haven't done a ton of testing on that, so that's kind of what we're going to be doing in this video, is testing to see if they're respawning properly. But they do get to their zones immediately, which is a massive difference compared to what they were before. It used to take maybe 2.5 hours for whitetail to actually arrive at their zones past the beginning of their drink time, so it was very difficult to make good time when hunting the whitetail. But now, since they made that change to where animals are just pretty much instantly put in their need zones, it's going to make whitetail hunting a lot more tolerable, and I think I can overlook the issues with spawns as long as the whitetail are able to get to their zones immediately. So that is one of the changes I am most happy about with this update, and we're going to be testing it out today to see if there's anything different with the spawning for whitetail, because if there's also some improvements with their spawning, then maybe it'll be time to continue the Great One grind. But we've got a few decent bucks in front of us right now. We're going to try and take them out. They're about 300 meters out, so we should be able to get this. Not sure how the second shot missed, but we got the first one. And it looks like we hit that guy. I don't know if he's going to die immediately, but we got a shot into him at least. Well, that was not what I was expecting to be able to do. We got clear up here to this one and we were about to claim it, and then two more just popped out of nowhere. So we actually got 4 deer down, and since this was further up, we don't have to worry about the zone getting deleted, so that's nice. So let's go ahead and pick these up. This one was a vertebrae shot, unfortunately. It would have been a good buck too. 225 is not bad at all. That's a very solid whitetail deer. And then this guy right here is a smaller one, 160, just a level 2 at 74 kgs. Very small level 2. This next guy right here is halfway into the dirt, but it is a 221. That's a very solid deer. That's the one that we just shot up here. That's not bad at all. It's a pretty big one. But anyway, we've claimed 3 of them. There was one more that we wounded, but it ran off really far and we haven't been able to find it yet, so I'm probably just gonna leave it. It's not really worth the time for tracking. So we took out 3 bucks here, so we'll just have to remember that for the next run. So we got a few more whitetail deer up here. It looks like there's only 2 bucks, but I just heard a buck call over to the left, so yeah, we got another one right here, but I think these are from a different zone. So, oh yeah, they definitely are from a different zone. I think what we're gonna do is we'll kill a couple over here and then wait for these ones to come back and try to figure out where they're actually drinking. And then once we figure out where they're drinking, we'll set up a tent. But these are actually starting to travel, so let's get a shot into it. Not sure if we're gonna get a second one. Don't think we'll be able to. It looks like those guys have already spooked off, but we took out one of them, so we'll go claim him. And then probably set up a tent directly northwest of us, about over there. So we have a couple of those bucks right there. We're going to try and shoot them before they get out of view. We definitely got that first buck, and it's looking like we got the second one on our second shot, so should be 2 down. Actually, doesn't look like either of them were hit vitally, so it'll take them a bit to die, but they should eventually go down. Here is the first buck that we shot, 150.40, so a pretty small whitetail deer, but we're not really too worried about the size of the deer. We're more worried about getting as many of them down as we can just to see if the respawns work. And it looks like they did start dying off, so we'll have a couple more to go claim, and then we'll get that tent dropped down. So it looks like we just found the second drink zone for the whitetail deer. They were kind of where I was expecting. They're right across from this zone, so we have 2 of them really close here. So that's going to be awesome. We definitely want to put our tent somewhere over in this area. That way we can see both of these zones and be far enough away to where we're not going to spook them too much when we shoot the other zone. So we'll go grab those 2 whitetail now, and then we'll head over to that marker and get our tent set up. I'm excited to see how this is going to turn out. I'm glad we've already found a couple decent whitetail zones. So there is one of the whitetail deer. I don't think the other one actually died, so we're not going to worry about it too much. We'll just grab this one, and it looks like the shot was a little bit far back, and the first shot was way far back, so I guess that's what we get for taking a jumping shot. But as I was saying, doesn't really matter too much where we hit them, as long as we get them down so that we can check what the respawns are like. So we got another herd of whitetail deer right here. It looks like there's only one buck in this one, unfortunately, but that'll make it really easy to see if he actually does respawn correctly, because there's only one that could possibly come back. So let's get a shot into this guy. And that's a pretty good whitetail deer too. It goes clear up to 260 on the second estimate, so it's got a chance at being pretty big and possibly even a diamond. However, that tip-to-tip spread is not looking super great, so I don't know if it'll end up being a diamond, but it'll probably be pretty decent at least. Let's go ahead and reward our dog for finding our kill. Now we will go ahead and pick this guy up. 239. So it is a really big whitetail deer, but not quite a diamond. Still really good though. So there is another pretty decent whitetail deer. That one goes clear up to 259 on the estimate, so technically this one could also have a chance of making diamond. I doubt that it will, but he does have a chance, so we definitely want to make sure we get a good shot onto him and don't screw anything up. He does appear to be the only buck though, so once again it'll be easy to tell if we end up getting our respawns back. And that's going to take care of him. He dropped on the spot. There's actually another herd of whitetail just up the river from us. The one that we just took out is over here, and we also have a zone clear up here, so I'm guessing we're going to need to put our tent somewhere back in this area. That way we are far enough away from both herds, although honestly we could put it right here and it would be fine. So we're going to go ahead and get this guy's attention, and once he turns we'll take a shot. We're zeroed for 150, so we will need to aim a little bit high. Once again, he's the only buck in this herd, so at least it's going to make it easy on us trying to figure out which ones are getting respawns and which herds aren't. I feel like that's the third or fourth time that I've said that, but ooh, there's actually a second one. Well, I guess we'll take that guy instead. See if we can get the second one. We at least got a shot into him. I don't know if that's going to be vitals or not, but now that we've shot the deer from both herds and spooked them off, let's go ahead and get a tent set up right probably here. And then we'll toss a stand down. I don't remember if I actually have any more. Doesn't look like it. We could probably just use a blind though. I think it should be fine. I also almost forgot to mention that I did have to change dogs, so we're now using our second dog, Jess, because for some reason Hunter bugged out, and I think it's because we hit max level on the tracker ability, so now for some reason every time that we try to have him track something, he goes into kind of like a slow motion walking. I'm gonna put a clip of that up right now so you guys can kind of get an idea of what I'm talking about. It's very strange and I'm not sure what caused it, but I've already reported it to the devs and hopefully they'll be able to figure out what the issue is and get a fix for it. But until then, we're just gonna be using Jess, which is right there, so we're going to be leveling her up a little bit and seeing if the same thing happens once we hit max level on tracker. But anyway, this is a pretty good deer right here, and I think this actually has a chance of being diamond, although the antlers are different, so that's probably going to make it not be a diamond, but it does have potential. And Jess has finally figured out that it's right here. Let's go ahead and give her a treat. Then once we give her a treat, we'll have her sit, that way she doesn't bark while we're claiming this. So we'll just do that right now. And let's go ahead and see, is this guy going to end up being a diamond? 250.90. He was so close, but as I kind of suspected, this antler made it so he didn't quite make it. That's honestly not too bad though. I'll take that, considering the only goal for today was to kind of figure out what the respawn situation is looking like with whitetail, and we end up finding ourselves an almost diamond. Can't really complain there. So here is this whitetail deer right here, as Jess finally finds it and decides to bark. Let's go ahead and have her sit, and then we'll claim this. 151.30, we did get a right lung shot, so It's about all I could really hope for at that angle. It was kind of a strange angle to be taking a buck at, but with the 30-06 round, it's pretty reliable for the most part, so I'm not too worried about taking shots like that. But that second buck we definitely did not hit good. That was not the best shot in the world, but it was running away, so there's not too much we could really have done there besides just take a random shot and hope for the best. So unfortunately I haven't been able to find that second deer, so we're probably just not going to worry about that too much. And what I'm going to do now is reset the time and then restart the game so our herds get back to their zones without being spooked, because a lot of times if you just reset the time but don't restart your game, animals will still be in a spook state and they won't go back to their zones at all. So we're going to restart the game real quickly after resetting the time and then go back to all the zones that we just hit, which I believe is 6 of them, and we'll kind of see what we have for respawns. So after a restart, we are back to a couple of the zones that we hunted, and we have 2 bucks here again, so we did end up getting our respawn from this one. We had 2 bucks here before, I shot one of them, and we have 2 once again, so that's a pretty good sign. Now, I don't know where this other herd that was over here has gone off to. I haven't seen them yet, but we'll at least take out the 2 bucks from this herd. So let's go ahead and take out probably the back one first, since he'll be the hardest. Looks like we got both of them though, so that's 2 bucks down. Now, as we're running up, we'll see if we can find that other herd. I haven't been able to see them, but they're probably just back in the brush. Well, there they are. I'm not exactly sure where they were hiding, but they finally did come out, so let's see if we can get both of these. Got one of them. And that guy decided to be nice and just sit there for us, so that's awesome. Not going to worry too much about having our dog track these, because I just want to get them claimed so we can make another run before the end of this video, because these do take quite a bit of time when it comes to claiming all the animals and taking them down, so I want to make sure we can fit as much of this into the last few minutes of the video as we can. So this time around with these 2 herds, we took out every single buck that I was able to see. So that means that if we have bucks here again on the next run, then I'd say it's safe to say the respawns are working correctly, at least for these herds right here. As for how it's going to be a couple hundred kills from now, it's hard to say, but I'm not going to probably go that far into this grind since this is just on the early access build. I do want to wait until this patch actually gets pushed out to live servers on March 30th, so once March 30th comes around, we definitely will start up the Great One grind again and just see where we can get with it. Last time this zone had 1 buck, and it looks like we got 2 bucks here this time. So that's actually really awesome. We got a second buck. We had only shot 1, and he was about the same size as this guy, and now we have 2, so that's actually a really good sign. I'm really happy with that. Now, I believe we should be fine on hunting pressure, and we are, so let's take both of these guys out. That should do the trick. Hopefully, on our next run, we'll have a bunch of bucks respawning, because we've killed every single buck that we've seen out of these last 3 zones, so if anything is going to show whether or not the respawns are fixed, this run is going to be the one that'll show that. Here is buck number 1. This should be the biggest of the 2, and he's 217, so he's pretty small for that estimate, but still a solid deer. And this other one is one of the smaller tight-racked ones, 168.70, so I'm excited to see what it's going to be like on this next run. So I don't remember how many bucks this herd was supposed to have, but it's got 3 as of now, and I'm pretty sure it had more before, so not a great sign for this herd, but the big herds have always had that issue where they just don't respawn after you shoot the bucks out of them, and I think that was a thing even before they started bugging out heavily last patch, so fingers crossed that it's just with the big herds. But I think we got all 3 of those. And yeah, they all went down. So here is number 1. 106.70. That is a really tiny whitetail deer. Here is the second one, which is a 210.10, which is somewhat small for being a max weight estimate, but still a decent buck. And then this guy's another one of those small tight racks at 171.50. So we're at those last 2 zones that we ended up going to on the last run, and I don't see a buck respawn for this herd. I just see 2 does, so That's a little unfortunate. I'm not sure what I pressed to do that, but something happened. And over here it looks like we didn't get our respawn either. We just have this one buck right here that we left alone. I believe this is actually the one that we wounded, but it never died, so I guess we'll take him out now. That should definitely do the trick. So the more I think about it, I'm starting to think that the theory of bucks spawning in different zones than where you kill them is starting to look a little bit more like it's actually what is happening, because we killed a buck from each of these herds in the last run, and neither of them came back, but we did have other zones where it seemed like there was more bucks than before, so maybe that's what's happening here. I guess we'll find out on this next run. So let's go ahead and grab this guy real quickly, then we'll restart once again and see what our respawns will be like. This guy's another small one, 188.60, so nothing really special there. So on this one, we're not going to be shooting anything because we're just trying to look at all of the herds to see if we got our respawns or not. And as of now, it's looking like we didn't get any bucks to respawn in this herd right here. It's just a solo doe. So that's not a good sign. Not a good start at all. There is the other herd over here, but they usually don't come out till we spook them, so I'm gonna run up over there and we'll see if they run out, and hopefully the bucks will be in there. Well, the other herd didn't spook out, but I did just find the tracks from them, and it looks like it's just a single doe. As far as I can tell, there's no other whitetail tracks around here. And yeah, there's our doe right there. So both of these zones have turned to a solo doe. That's a little unfortunate to see. I really hope that they're just delayed in spawning, because otherwise that's not looking good for the whitetail deer. It does say that it's just one in this drink zone, so that's really unfortunate. This zone up here, however, does have one of its bucks at least, and in fact it's got both of them, so we did get respawns in the lake up here in the top left. This is where we initially had one buck, then on the second run we had two here, and now on run number 3, both of them respawned, and one of them is a pretty decent deer, so good sign on this zone, but that first couple zones have me a little bit worried still. Now this zone I'm super curious about, because this is the one that was a pretty large herd, and we shot the last 3 bucks in it on our last run, and now it's just does. So it looks like the whitetail are still having issues. I really didn't want to believe it. After the first couple herds that stopped producing bucks on this run, I wanted to believe that maybe it was just those zones hadn't got their bucks back, but this zone right here has not respawned a single buck the entire time that I've been making this video, and we've been recording for about 2 hours now, and I've never seen a buck respawn in this herd. We've just taken out all of them one by one and got nothing to come back. And last but not least, we got these 2 zones over here. It looks like these guys aren't even back at their zone yet. We're gonna have to wait a couple minutes to get them to come in. But over here, we do have our buck back, so we actually have 2 of them back. I don't even know what to think, honestly. Because this is another zone where there was only 1 buck here. And it appears that one of the does is gone and it's became a buck. I don't even know what to think now. This zone was 2 does and 1 buck. And now we have 2 bucks and 1 doe. I really don't even know what's happening. It looks like we got our bucks back in this zone too, so maybe they're just delayed. Because on the last run, none of these bucks were back, and now they are. Honestly, I think whitetail might be in a better state than they were in the previous patch. It took them a little while, but all of them have respawned besides that one big herd, but those have always had issues, so I'm going to be doing some more tests on these guys, probably in one of the live streams once this patch full releases on the 30th, so stay tuned for that. We're going to be doing a lot more grinding and testing of the whitetail, especially now that we can hunt a lot of them in a short amount of time. So we'll get those 2 down, and then get him down too. Actually, might as well get both of those down. I'm really happy that we did this third run, or else I would never have got to see the fact that these bucks did respawn, but they were just one run later than I was expecting, so it does kind of feel like you need to shoot a certain amount of deer, which I've always kind of suspected that, but you never really know exactly how many, because obviously Expansive Worlds doesn't tell us anything about how to get our respawns or how many we need to kill to actually get them to trigger, but it does seem like they're working as intended as far as I can tell. But as I was saying, we're going to test this a lot more once the patch full releases on March 30th, so once it does that, expect to see a lot of Great One grinding streams and probably some more Whitetail videos as we test them further to see if they're 100% fixed, because for some people they didn't actually break until a few hundred kills into the grind, so we definitely want to test that for more long-term effects. But as of now, it's looking 10 times better than it was in the last patch, because not only are they somewhat respawning the way they're supposed to, but with them making that fix that makes it so animals actually go to their zone immediately after you change the time, it really gets rid of the hassle and pain of hunting whitetail, because it used to be you'd have to wait 2, maybe 3 in-game hours for the whitetail to even arrive at their zone, and now they're just there immediately, which saves a lot of time. But here is the last 2 whitetail deer. This guy was actually running right as we took the shot, but we still managed to drop him. And this second one right here was the first one we shot. 228 on the score, so that's a pretty good buck. Flesh and left lung. Not too bad, I'll definitely take that. But I think we're gonna go ahead and end the video there. We've been going for about 2 hours now, grinding these whitetail deer. Actually, a little bit more than 2 hours at this point. I think we're at like 2 hours and 20 minutes. But anyway, we're gonna go ahead and end it because we've done about as much as we can do right now. Now we just gotta wait for the patch to drop on March 30th, and then we'll be able to test them further. But I hope you guys enjoy the video. If you're brand new to the channel, consider subscribing. I do post 3 to 5 videos a week, along with daily live streams. And be sure to like the video if you enjoyed it, and leave a comment down below, and there's a pretty high chance that I'll reply to your comments. So if there's a question that you want to ask me, or a video idea or anything like that, be sure to leave that down in the comments below. With that being said, thank you guys for watching, and once again, thank you to Expansive Worlds for letting me give you guys an early look at the Bloodhound DLC and the upcoming patch, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace!